audio only, and I'm going to pause it. Hello and welcome to the September CometWatch. A bit late in the month, I know, but I've been busy moving across the Atlantic, and but never mind, we're here. Mary's actually got a lecture on astrophotography she's doing today, so she couldn't join us, but she should be back next week. Hey Neil, nice to be back with you, and let's get CometWatch on the road for this month. Lots of stuff to
Yes,
do.
let's do it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, as always, we're going to start with the Comet section, visual observations, information, latest discoveries. And August the 13th, Watch-Up Boomplod reports a Kreutzgruppe comet in real-time C3 images.
And on August the 14th, Wild-Shot Bloomplod reports 2 Kreutzgruppe comets in real-time C3 images.
August the 23rd, Prayford Sharma reports a Kreutzgruppe comet in real-time C3 images.
Again on the 23rd, Simon Liu reports 2 Kreutzgruppe comets in real-time C3 images.
August the 26th, Zaijian Zhu reports a non-group comet in real-time C2 images.
August 27th, Mesonoria Eugenia reports a non-group comet in real-time C2 images.
August the 27th, Watch-Up Boomplod reports a Maya group comet in real-time C2 images.
August the 30th, and Wild-Shot Bloomplod reports a Kreutzgruppe comet in real-time C3 images.
Okay, August the 31st, Watch-Up Boomplod reports a return of 322p SOHO in real-time images.
And again on the 31st, Wild-Shot Bloomplod reports a Kreutzgruppe comet in real-time C3 images.
On September 5th, Watch-Up Bloomplod reports a Kreutzgruppe comet in real-time C2 images.
September the 8th was the recovery of 2007 T4 periodic comet Gibbs reported.
September the 9th, recovery of 2008 Y1 periodic Bertoni reported as 2019 R1.
Again on September the 9th was the discovery of A/2019 Q1 reported.
Again on the 9th of September, discovery of A 2019 Q2 reported.
September the 10th was the discovery of 2019 Q3 Pan-STARRS reported.
Again on September the 10th, Watch-Up Bloomplod reports a Kreutzgruppe comet in real-time C3 images.
September the 11th was Wild-Shot Bloomplod reporting a Kreutzgruppe comet in real-time C3 images.
September the 11th, discovery of possible interstellar comet 2019 Q4 Borisov reported.
And September the 12th was the update.
Now, if there's no recent updates, you can always try the German Comet Group or Yoshida Yoshida's page for information, or go to the Liga Ibero-Americana de Astronomía for observations. So as always on the comet shipping forecast, we're now going to move on to comet magnitudes and observable region on September 4. So I'm going to kick off with Pan-STARRS 2017 T2, magnitude 10. It's bright, observable 70 degrees north to 50 degrees south. It's a morning object, last visually observed 2019 September.
Next is the old favourite Africano 2018 W2 at magnitude 10 and brightening, 70 degrees north to 10 degrees south, an all-night object, last reported in September.
64p Chemola, magnitude 11, bright, 50 degrees north to 70 degrees south. It's an early evening object and it was last observed 2019 September.
Next up is 260p McNaught, magnitude 11.5 and brightening, 55 degrees north to 60 degrees south, best viewed in the morning, last reported in September.
Assassin 2018 N2, 11.5 magnitude, bright, 70 degrees north to 40 degrees south, is best in the morning and last visually observed September 2019.
Next is a periodic comet 289 Blancpain, magnitude 12 question mark. It should be brightening, 45 degrees north to 80 degrees south, best viewed in the morning and is yet to be observed.
Next is my old friend 29p Swakman SW1. No, not a London address, I'm afraid. It's currently at 13 question mark. It does vary. Observable 70 degrees north to 50 degrees south, best in the morning. Last visually observed August 2019.
And finally, we have Lemon 2018 R3, magnitude 13.5, but now sadly fading, and currently in conjunction, last seen in July.
This is a partial update. The observable region is an approximate indication of the latitude at which the comet may be seen. Obviously, under good conditions, comets may be visible outside this range. The period being when visible is for the UK, if the comet is visible from the UK, otherwise for 40 degrees south or the equator is appropriate. The last visual observation is as received by the BAA Comet section. Details are often updated on the basis of observations published elsewhere. Beginners can often find comets fainter than about 7 magnitude difficult to locate. And we do recommend that you go to the visual observations page for information on positions and excellent finder charts. Now, in the news, the next comet to become visible in binoculars may be 2017 T2, which should be within range from the autumn onwards. J.J. Gonzalez recovered it at the end of July at a magnitude consistent with the pre-conjunction light curve. Now, the likely peak brightness is still extremely uncertain, ranging from faint binocular to obvious naked eye visibility. I'm going to say this because I always say this. Comets are like cats. They have tails and they do with them as they wish, which basically means just because we think it may be a naked eye object, it is going to be we think. Because sometimes, as always, they can be really on the curve and then suddenly go splutter and go out. And of course, we all have that on our face. So, as I say, it becomes visible in the evening sky from September and it remains well paced for observations until 2020 October. So this is going to be a cracking comet. We're going to have a nice bit of time with this. When at its best, it will be in the Northern Hemisphere object and circumpolar from the UK. Now, all the information is on the Comet section website. So please do go along. And I really do recommend joining the BAA or the Society for Popular Astronomy because they really do have some excellent resources for you. And of course, the advantage of joining the BAA is that you can read papers on comets that are published in the BAA journal. Either that or you really have to hope that your friend is a member and borrow his magazines. And not all of us are willing to do that anymore because I've had a whole lot go missing and I'm kind of, if it comes out on CD-ROM, then that's fine, you can borrow it. If not, sorry, join. Okay, let's have a quick chat because we've got two special guests coming in shortly, and I really wanted to have a quick natter about Borisov because this is actually a bolt from the blue, and what is more important, this is the second confirmed interstellar visitor. A lot of people are describing it as a rogue comet. But originally it was named GB00234. It is an interstellar comet, and it will pass through the ecliptic. Thank you. It's 9:22 odd on a Saturday morning. I've only had one cup of coffee. And normally, I'm recording this show in the afternoon when I was in the States, and for my colleague Neil here, it's something like about 9 o'clock at night gone.
That's right. Yes, but Borisov is a very interesting object. It's shooting literally through the solar system. There's I've seen lots of things on Twitter and on Facebook, and the comet is whizzing through at around about 41 kilometers a second and speeding up, and it's already, it's at the orbit of, just inside that of Jupiter, really. It's about 3 odd astronomical meters away, and it's got a tail, which Oumuamua didn't, of course, and it has a coma, which Oumuamua never showed anyone. So this thing is really going. They have had a quick go with a spectroscope on it, and I believe it's very much looking like typical D-type asteroids that we have in our own solar system. So it's very red, basically. It's possibly between 2 and 16 kilometers in diameter. Of course, as it's Oumuamua would have been easier to measure because obviously there was no coma, where comets you can't see the nucleus. It's not going to come close enough to Earth, so we can't use radar to get inside the coma. So unfortunately we won't know any shapes or any definite sizes, but this thing is outgassing, and I've seen a picture today on Twitter, and the tail is growing. I believe that the coma is already 26,000 kilometers in diameter.
Okay, sorry for interrupting there. Here's a few facts. So it was discovered by Gennady Borisov on the 30th of August of this year. there's an observation arc of 19 days, 224 observations to date. Perihelion is 2.3 plus or minus 0.01 AU. The eccentricity, this is why we know it's an interstellar object. JPL has it at 3.46 plus or minus 0.04. The MCP has it at 3.39. And I've heard another figure of 3.41 plus or minus 3.03.
Yeah, that's an independent observation calculation. Yeah,
and it's
all grey.
Yeah, and it's got an inclination of 43.82 degrees plus or minus 0.8. The node is at 308.36 degrees, again plus or minus 0.8. And it's going to actually come inside the area of the solar system between Mars and Jupiter. It should cross outside the orbit of Jupiter in December of this year. Sorry, Mars. What am I saying? It's going to cross outside the orbit of Mars in December of this year. So it's definitely going to be a very, very interesting object. And what we'll do, we do have two special guests coming on in about 5 minutes. So we may take a break from this discussion and then come back to it for a brief little bit after our guests, because we have two very special guests, and I'm very pleased that Neil and I managed to get them. Well done, Neil, on getting our guests for us today. So we've got 4 minutes before that. So what else can we say? It was discovered at the Margot Observatory in Crimea, and it was discovered on a custom-built 0.65 meter telescope.
Yes.
A discovery.
It looks a bit like R2-D2.
Yeah.
Have you seen pictures of it?
I've seen some of the images of it on the CometWatch group, and I have actually tried to image it on C2 on SLU without any success. I know I'm in the right area, but I really can't actually figure it out. So I may have to put it into Simbad, and see what I can do. Having said that, at discovery, it was 3 AU from the Sun, 3.7 AU from the Earth, with a solar elongation of about 38 degrees. It looks like it's come from the direction of Cassiopeia, near the border with Perseus, and it is very close to the galactic plane. Perihelion is going to be around the 7th of December of this year. Borisov described his discovery as following. I observed it on August the 29th, but it was August 30th GMT I saw a moving object in the frame. It moved in a direction that was slightly different from that of the main asteroids. I measured the coordinates and consulted with the Minor Planet Center database. It is a new object. Then he measured the near-Earth object rating, and it's calculated from various parameters. It turns out to be 100%. And I decided, in other words, our special guests have just arrived. Our special guests, would you please introduce yourselves? Worldwide.
I'm Nigel Henbest. I've been an astronomer since I was yay high. I did research at Cambridge working with the Astronomer Royal. Now I produce and write books on what's up there in the sky. And I'm also, by the way, signed up to be an astronaut with Virgin Galactic. Well done.
And I'm Nigel, co-partner in writing. I've been, again, an astronomer from a very early age, like the age of about 8, and I've been passionate about astronomy. I went to university, studied astrophysics, then went on to Oxford, realised I didn't like the academics, they were boring,
sounds good to me.
And so I decided to go into basically communicating astronomy, and that was fantastic. I've been all over the world giving talks and giving presentations and everything, and it's been absolutely fantastic. I've met so many people, and as Nigel has just pointed out to me, I haven't pointed out my name. I'm Professor Heather Couper.
Welcome to the show, Nigel and Heather. And of course, Heather, I remember you as the BAA president many years ago.
Yes.
And your two excellent Channel 4 shows, The Planets and The Stars.
That was really great fun, and that got me into television. And the stars, basically, we chose our director, and he said, we're mugs, we made this program for another production company, let's form our own company. So we formed Pioneer Productions, and well, we were very, very lucky. It turned out the head of the Discovery Channel was very keen on me as a presenter and performer, signed us up to make 2 13-part series, and we never looked back. It became a multi-million-pound company, still is, although we've left now, but it's paid for Nigel's money to go into space. It's paid for me having my indoor heated swimming pool.
Nice. And
Wow.
Of course, Neil and I both remember you from The Sky at Night as well.
Yes.
Yeah, Patrick and I were very keen on each other. I think it went rather snowball-shaped when I did an interview for a newspaper which appeared in the magazine section, where I was featured in my bath, apparently naked, but holding a plastic inflatable space shuttle, and I don't think things went very well after that.
Indeed, Patrick was not amused by that.
No.
Now, we know, of course, we all both know you as prolific authors. I get your yearly guide to what's good and what's up in the sky at night and everything. And I think the 2021 is already out. It's in my collection. It's been waiting here for me to come back from the States, and I really enjoyed that. And I'm going to hand over to Neil for a short while. Otherwise, I'll just do as I usually. Neil will tell you I can dominate a radio show very easily. So over to Neil.
He can dominate, yes. Well, Nigel, it's great to have you with us, and Nick's already covered the bit with the Sky at Night already. So, yes, could you tell us about your book, please, for those who need a good guide to the night sky for 2020, please?
Well, for the last 15 years, we've been writing this book for Philips. It's called Stargazing. So, as Nick was saying, the latest one is 2020 Stargazing, and it's a month-by-month guide to what you can see there up in the sky. So it's for the beginning stargazer, just the general public who's going to look up and say, what's that bright thing up there? Oh, yeah, it's a planet. So there's a star chart for each month. There's a list of interesting things going on, like eclipses and meteor showers, and when the planets are at their brightest. And then some special charts which show you where the planets are, maybe in the morning sky, which doesn't appear on our main evening charts. But there's oodles of other stuff. We've picked out our 20 favourite sky sites, give some people an idea of what to look at. So the Great Orion Nebula, the Seven Sisters Pleiades star cluster. And we have the map for readers who are in the British Isles, the UK and Ireland, a map of light pollution, because that's everybody goes out there, look at the sky and think, oh, I can't see much because there's street lights here. So we're pinpointing the best places to go to see a really dark night.
And the important thing about the pictures, when you look at the cover of 2020 Stargazing, there is an image of the planet Saturn which looks as if it could have been taken by the Cassini space probe. It wasn't. It was taken by an amateur called Damien Peach. And all the pictures in the book, and this has been the case since the first copy was published in 2005, all the pictures are taken by backyard amateur astronomers, and we give budding astronomers details of how those pictures were captured, how they were then processed on the computer, and they are incredible images. And it just goes to show you don't have to have a PhD to do great things in astronomy.
No, this is that's a good point, actually, because I was watching. I do a lot of watching back on YouTube with the Sky at Nights, because when I was growing up, I watched them and I had to stay up late, and I sort of like can't remember lots of them, so I catch up with them now. And the images that were sometimes shown by, at that time, professionals were by today's standards, absolutely quite shocking. I mean, what a backyard astronomer can achieve nowadays with, is absolutely amazing.
It's incredible. I mean, and we select the pictures, and we've actually got our selection of our favourite photographers coming in. Nigel, especially friends on Facebook. So over to you.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, we have a section at the back of the book every year written by Robin Scadgel, a friend of ours and a great equipment expert. And this year, he's specifically talking about how to get great pictures of the sky. So again, for people who are just dipping their toes in the water thinking, these are fantastic images, how do I do that? So either just with a camera, with a telescope, but also not with a camera as such, but how to take pictures using your phone. So your mobile phone or your iPhone, how to take great pictures of the sky, because you can do that. So we're telling people, you don't have to look at these pictures, you can go out and get them for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course, I remember the 2018 stargazing had a wonderful picture of a comet on the front. Absolutely, almost like somebody's in a spaceship.
I fought for that picture. I really did. I was getting so bored with the book having just a star chart on the front cover, and I actually said to the head of publication at Phillips and Octopus, I said, I'm not having my name attached to that book unless you have a picture of that comet. And what they did, in fact, they in the offices, they pasted up 2 dummy covers of the book. One had a star chart, the other had a comet. And what they'd done on the comet, they actually worked that comet into the ground by photoshopping it into photo. But I mean, it's such a great thinking job on it. It was marvellous. And everybody went for the comet. And it certainly helped our sales that year. And so what we're doing is now really going for broke. And last year we had an amazing picture of the Whirlpool galaxy by Lass in Spain, but she's British, so she counts.
Sarah Wager.
Sarah Wager, that's her, yeah. And this year is Damien Peach. And for all those speculating what we're going to go for in 2021, I shall warn we're looking for a brilliant picture of the aurora. So that's what we want. A
sneak preview there.
Sneak preview, yeah, absolutely.
I have some friends who could help you there, I think. I'm sure Nick has too.
Oh, yes. Go on, Heather.
Yeah, I mean,
so you just put them in touch. I'm always open to new talent. We absolutely love it when someone comes along with a great picture that we perhaps haven't heard of. We can have a chance to feature them.
I think I'll have a word with my friend Mark, because he was in Iceland last year, and he got taken out by a couple of the local guides for aurora, and I will definitely put him in touch with you.
That'd be brilliant. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I was going to touch on with you, what are your views on this new interstellar comet? We had a Muramura, and now we have a comet, and I wonder what you guys thought about it.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, the good thing about this new one is that it's outgassing. With we caught it as it was going away, and it didn't produce any gas, and it's not clear what it was. This is behaving like a proper comet. It's producing a lot of gas, and already people are doing spectroscopy on it. So as it gets closer to the sun, it's going to get as close as Mars. Then, in fact, it's going to be very, very close to Mars, and we're living on the wrong planet to take a look at it. But we will be able to see what, it's the first chance to see what gases from outside the solar system look at, like in close-up.
Yeah.
But there is an idea that comets brought organic molecules to the Earth. I won't say life came to the Earth in comets. I mean, Fred Hoyle had that idea that actually living things came to the Earth in comets. I'm not claiming that, but the organic molecules came on comets. But of course, that was the stuff forming around our sun. So our comets are outside the solar system, significantly different. I mean, they will have the same elements. They're going to have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, but are the proportions, are the isotopes different? It's really, really exciting.
It is, absolutely. I mean, I think comets are absolutely fantastic things. We've feared and celebrated them for, basically lifetimes. The Halley's Comet, of course, the classical one that comes around every 76 years, came by very, very close in about 840 AD. And it really scared people. It was very, very close.
Yeah.
People in 1910, when it came by, they were worried about the contamination by poisonous gases and shuttered up the windows of their flats in New York and stuff like that. But I think they're wonderful things, and I was so excited by the encounter between our European space probe Giotto and Halley's Comet back in 76. 86. You're absolutely right.
But one of the things we find writing a yearly book, Neil, is that we can predict when planets are going to be bright. For example, in 2020, Mars is going to be really bright in October. It's at its closest to the sun. But what we can't predict is comets. And so we had one year, remember Comet Ison?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. Well, we had an encounter with Comet Ison, because with the first edition of the book, we didn't have it in because it was discovered while the book was being printed. And we started getting emails from people writing to the publisher saying, these authors haven't included Comet Ison. It's going to be as bright as the sun, da 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 da. So, and and you can hear this, we had a reprint, so we put in a little bit. I mean, we weren't going to go out on a limb about it, but we said Comet ISON may become really, really bright. So it was in the second edition of the book, and of course, when it actually came around, it just fizzled out and wasn't visible.
It collided with the sun. Yeah. But you had to be careful writing a yearbook because there are things you can't predict, like a close asteroid or something, or a close comet or something.
Supernova or supernova will be another one.
Oh no, that'd be really good. But you still get criticism by the general public who think, oh, well, couldn't they just change the book, in a week or so? But no, the book in China, and the copies have to be shipped all the way back. So it's not a quick turnaround job. So
it's not a quick process, no. Yeah. But the trouble is, with and this is the thing, a lot of the general public, casual browsers who have an interest in the sky and may know the constellation Orion, for example, but little else, they don't understand that, for example, comets have a thing like, I think it's the Bortle limit, where it has to be a certain magnitude. If it gets too close to the sun, there's a high chance of disintegration.
That's right. Yeah.
And the newspapers, I won't mention any tabloids, but certain ones, and they're doing quite a good job with asteroids at the moment. They're saying that these comets will be brighter than the sun, and you'll see it in the daytime with a great big tail, 40 degrees long. But the general public, of course, are let down, and we need more outreach.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing that lets down the general public is the general media, and in particular things like, I hate the word, but I shall say it, supermoon, and they're saying, the moon's going to be trillions of times bigger or something like that. And
well, the latest thing we have is the super black moon. Is when there's a new moon at perigee. So it's a super black moon, meaning we can't actually see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's ludicrous. And we don't want to lead the public astray because we want them to enjoy astronomy. And it's amazing how fascinated people are in astronomy. Well, that's what the book we write is not for amateur astronomers. It
is for them as well, but we think about the general public, as I say, when we write it.
Very think about the general public because we get so many questions asked down the pub and everything like that. Just a general question: what's that bright thing up in the sky? And I thought I saw an aurora last night, and so we're writing to them.
But part of the fun of it is actually. Gazing into the crystal ball. Please don't take me literally. The screen checking the software, but it's unusual things that are coming up. And what I came across in 2020, if we go really fast forward to December the 21st of 2020, Jupiter and Saturn, we know they're close together in the sky. They've been getting closer and closer for years, and just at the moment, they're pretty close, low down in the southwest after sunset. At the end of next year, December 2020, they're going to come so close together that to the naked eye they may actually seem to merge into a single brilliant star. It's the closest they've been since the year 1623. So that's a 1 in 400 year happening. So what will be happening in 2020. So we love to pick out these things and tell people the things that are going to be going on, which are not the regular appearances.
Sort of a Star of Bethlehem conjunction sort of thing.
Oh well, absolutely right. I mean. Yeah. Well, one of my sidelights actually is debunking the Star of Bethlehem, but maybe that's actually a different program.
Well, I have to admit, that was Neil read my mind because that was going through my mind, and I do remember the show that Patrick did about it to try and decide what it was, and even he had to admit that we're not quite sure, but maybe one day we will know. But
I'll go. Let me do a punt on this, and I don't offend any listeners here. I'm convinced, as a scientist, as an astronomer of many years standing, the Star of Bethlehem did not exist. There was actually nothing in the sky. It wasn't anything at all. The Magi didn't exist. St. Matthew, who was a spin doctor basically for the new religion, and he had some kind of brilliant appearance in the sky to herald the Messiah coming. And it's my firm belief that St. Matthew actually made the whole lot up. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be popular with many people for saying that.
No, but I think you're right. Very much right, because there were various people who were born who were, amazingly, basically sort of heroes and martyrs and everything, and they always have to have a star or a presence in the sky around at their birth time.
almost an omen of the event that has to happen for it to be something that stands out in history.
Well, you're absolutely right, and it was predicted in the Old Testament. I think it was Isaiah who predicted that there would be a brilliant star when the Messiah was born. So there had to be a bright star, even if nobody saw it in the sky. You know, the gospel has said, well, either because it was predicted.
Yeah.
Quickly going back to the supermoon thing, I always mangle the word. I always say it's the Earth, Moon, and Sun synergy for the full moon, and I also then debunk the micromoon business as being they're merely astrological names from 1979 from an American astrologer who coined the name supermoon and micromoon. As Neil knows, I do another radio show called The Event Horizon on astronomy.fm, and it is one of my favourite rants. Someone only asked about, are you going to look at the supermoon? I says, no, it is not that. And then I put I found a really neat graphic, and that's what gets chucked into the chat room. This is what it really is. I refuse to use that term.
You just used the word several times over, I might point out.
Yes, you did.
You hate it as we do.
I was just, you mentioned Giotto and the famous Halley encounter in 1986, Heather. I wonder what you both thought about the Rosetta mission with 67P, Churyumov-Gerasimenko in 2014.
Amazing. I covered that. I can't remember what I was covering it for, but I talked to one of the researchers who was absolutely amazing, the one who burst out in tears when he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt with naked ladies on.
Oh, Matthew.
Oh, Matthew, yes.
Lovely guy. And I thought the images that came back were just phenomenal.
I've just seen
it looked like the asteroid looked like a duck.
In fact, there's an amazing video which you probably know better than I do. It has been assembled, which actually shows all the video in sequence of spacecraft approaching the comet and then flying around it, and you can actually see the jets actually growing and pulsating as it goes out.
Wow.
I mean, it really is what a comet should look like. That was a hugely successful mission. I mean, it's a shame that Philae didn't land properly on the comet, but the results of the orbiter are absolutely astounding.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to the next ESA mission, which we will go off and wait for a comet to come along and then pounce on it, which should be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a shame it's not there now, because it could have gone after Borisov.
Yes. The trouble is, hopefully there'll be another one, because they say there should be roughly one interstellar comet every year once we get the techniques to find it. And because what's exciting me is the Vera Rubin telescope, the Large Synoptic Survey Telescope. And I was down in Chile a couple of months ago for the total eclipse of the sun, observing it actually from up in the mountains in the Elqui Valley near La Serena. And we were on one side of the mountain. We were glamping on a mountainside with a camp up there to see the eclipse, which was absolutely brilliant. The other side of the valley was the Magellan South Telescope, one of the biggest telescopes in the world, and next to it, the Vera Rubin Telescope, which was still being completed. The mirror was on its way, and when it's going into action, it'll scour the entire sky every 3 nights, and it's going to come up with the faintest objects of all, and it should be picking up interstellar comets quite regularly.
Good point.
I have to admit, I do remember Giotto because I was working for a certain company at the time, and I actually did some of the flight model equipment that was put on board there. So for me, that was I got to go into the conference room with all the board members and sit down and watch the coverage and see some of the actual live real-time images that were coming in. And of course, it went on to Greg Scullerup, which really proved the whole thing about Giotto. It was a tough little mission. It did one comet, it got hit by particles from Halley's Comet, and yet it went on to another comet and did just as much excellent science. It just shows you how good we actually build stuff.
That's brilliant. In fact, I was going to say, I might have actually bumped into you there, because I was at Darmstadt for the Halley encounter. In fact, I was covering it live for the BBC World Service. They came to me throughout the entire evening, through into the hours of the morning, and for the closest bit of the encounter. So I had a little monitor in my little studio. It was radio rather than TV. So I was looking at the strange multicolored images coming in and interpreting them to an audience which I think might have reached 100 million around the world. And I was saying because clearly there were some structures there with hard edges to them. So even though the strange multicolored object, we were clearly seeing a solid surface. So I was able to say to people, seeing a surface that looks like that. But they kept me on air after the other programs had stopped. And I was seeing the feed through the control room. You would have seen that too, because people were saying, certain television programs, they won't name any presenters on BBC television. Oh, it's been destroyed, that's the end of the mission. But I was watching just as you were, and I get in the feed through the control room, and we would start seeing the boards flickering, and there were signals clearly coming back, starting back from Giotto. So I was able to say live on BBC World Service Radio, we haven't lost Giotto, we're still in touch with it, and we are recovering contact.
And the amazing thing is, you mentioned Greg Skellerup, and I did a 1 hour long program for Horizon on the encounter, the live encounter between Giotto and Greg Skellerup, and it was absolutely amazing. It was for the European Space Agency, and the director of NASA was over as well. There were thousands of people in the audience. We had 4 rehearsals beforehand. Hadn't a clue what to expect. What would, I joked to my friends, I'm making a program about basically a half-destroyed spacecraft visiting an invisible comet. But actually, they did get some good data. What was the name of the guy from Kent?
You got me there. Tony McDonald.
Tony McDonald, that's right. He actually got some impacts on Giotto, and so he's able to actually work out that there was life in Greg Skellerup.
Yeah, and there's Plasma data as well, which was lots, unique. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's essential to explore comets because they are the progenitors of life in our solar system.
Now, the $64 million question that we ask a lot of our guests. If you had unlimited funds, what comet would you visit and how would you do it?
Yes.
That's a good question. I can't name the comet. I would love to visit the next sun grazer because these are comets, the Kreutz family comets, which come in from the outer part of the solar system, and they go right past the sun like Kiyosaki back in the 1960s, and that would be amazing to be on because they're fresh. They're fresh from the outer part of the solar system. So first of all, I take a look at them. For something like Halley, which comes around regularly, even if it had a bright icy surface to begin with, that's been evaporated away. It's got a dark surface, as Churyumov-Gerasimenko has as well, because they've been around and around the sun. What is a fresh like? We used to talk, before we saw Halley in close-up, we used to say the comet was a dirty snowball. It's not. It's a chalk ice with all the dark stuff on the outside and the ice in the middle. But is a fresh comet going to be made of fresh stuff? Is it going to have a fluffy exterior? I guess it's actually really fluffy before it's first encountered with the sun. And that's what I would really love to see now. How I'm going to get there is going to travel so close to the sun, I think. And also, it'll be coming in very fast. I think I'm going to have to just think about the technology for a bit before we actually get there. You've basically got to kill the orbital velocity around the sun because the Earth is going so fast. You can't have a comet that's going straight in, so you have to kill the Earth's orbital velocity off. I know. I'll talk to Elon Musk and
yes.
The opposite direction of the Earth's rotation, and then revolution, and then drop into the sun.
I know. I'd go exactly with Nigel. A maiden comet, so to speak, something coming into the solar system from the Oort cloud for the first time, and wow, a sample of what the early solar system was like.
What are your feelings about visiting 29P SW1? Because this is my favorite. Well, I say it's my favorite comet. It's the favorite one I hate to say, but one of the
he can't pronounce it.
Oh, it's Whackman. That's how I pronounce it.
That's the reason I wanted to go there. It's a comet.
Because with it being variable, of course, it's on the regular outburst, and our friend Mr. Miles, and I can't remember his first name, he's going to kill me for this one. Richard, that's it. Yes.
Good Lord.
Yeah. One cup of coffee this morning. so far, and I'm used to 2 in the mornings. And of course, normally when I'm recording this show, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon for me in the US, and whatever time it is for Neil. But yeah. So I've always fancied going to 29p because it has regular outbursts. There's regularly fresh material coming out, and it would perhaps provide us with a clue, perhaps more of a clue that I said you're going inside a comet. There's actually a very short period as well.
Sure, no, I obviously don't understand what you're saying, because I mean that is technologically feasible. I mean, getting a Croix sun grazer is a long way in the future, because first of all you have to have the technology to get to it, which is, as I just said, is actually extraordinarily difficult in terms of orbital velocity. And secondly, you can't plan to go for it. You have to have a spacecraft, and you have to wait however long it'll be until the comet turns up. What you're talking about is a feasible mission, and as you say, what comes from inside the comet, it should be fairly representative, not too much altered from the early days of the solar system. So in terms of a mission in the near future, that'll be a good one, yeah.
What are your views on the ICE mission?
The OS mission?
The ICE mission, the Comet Interceptor, as it's also called.
Oh yes, is the ESA mission that's coming out. Oh yeah. That's I was talking about earlier. Well, I mean, that is, well, in principle, it is a very good idea, because it's going to sit out there in space and it's going to wait for the comet to come by and then intercept an interesting one, which, as you're saying, we could choose which one to go for, which is a variant on choosing one which we already know about. So yeah, potentially. I mean, it's a good idea. It's you're going to wait for an interesting comet to come along and take a look at, but there should be enough of them around. So it's a very unusual concept, I suppose, is what I'm struggling to say, is because every single space mission up until now, you know what you're going to. We know why we're going to a comet with this mission, but we don't know which one we're going to, and every single mission up you've actually had your target plan. So yeah, philosophically, it's actually a target of opportunities. It's a great idea. And this is, ground-based telescopes do this all the time, targets of opportunity. If a supernova appears, then all telescopes swing and take a look at it, even though it's not scheduled. So I guess in terms of space exploration, why not?
Yeah, that's the right analog.
Yeah.
I tend to think also with Shoemaker Levy 9, I'm showing my age here. I think that really defined the target of opportunity idea with a lot of the major telescopes, because it was suddenly when both Eugene and David and Caroline realized what was actually going to happen to the comet. This was in some respects a wake-up call, but it also allowed the worldwide astronomical community really to show what it could do, and particularly with the professional instruments, it was a case of
the public was very, very involved with that. We actually made, when we founded Pioneer TV Productions, we started making programs about space, but they basically extended to everything else: avalanches, tsunami, cannabis, even, and like that, and rapid reaction documentaries like Chilean miners going missing. But we did 1 hour program for Channel 4, which had amazing viewing figures about basically, it was called On Jupiter, and it was all about the collision between SL9 and Jupiter, and there was amazing graphics, absolutely great.
And it also was about the Galileo space probe, which of course arrived just after that, and so we were very lucky to get interviews with Gene and Carolyn Shoemaker and David. Of course, that was shortly before, very sadly, before Gene died. So we filmed the Meteor Crater, which was the absolute right location, because Gene was at Meteor Crater training Apollo astronauts. He was going to go to the moon, but because of medical reasons he couldn't. So he became the expert on impact craters on the Earth, and then of course, finding a comet which is going to collide with another planet was a totally amazing thing to happen.
One question, because I know I've been asked this, and I always promised if I ever got to chat to you guys, I would bring this up. Will the planets and the stars ever make it to DVD?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Most of the episodes are on YouTube, I think. It's probably I mean, I don't think that Channel 4 would now sell them as a DVD because for them it would be too far in the past. But the episodes are available on YouTube, which is probably what most people would rather do rather than play a DVD.
Yeah,
I know you don't have the resolution there, but you can get the programs.
The only reason I asked this was I remember I used to video every episode religiously back in the days of the VHS.
yeah.
So,
like you say, I mean, you can always transfer those to DVDs. I mean, for your own use.
Unfortunately, the actual VHS tapes haven't survived the rigors of transport. Shipping stuff by sea, and I found out the hard way. VHS tapes do not like it.
Well, the Stars is by far the better program. It had a much better director, and that was Stuart Carter, who we teamed up with to make Pioneer Productions. And we've all left Pioneer Productions now, but we're hardly retired or anything like that. We're 2021 Stargazing has got to come into production this year. We've got another book out which has caused us a little bit of distress. It's an American publisher, and we wanted to call it, well, Nigel came up with the title, Your Big Cosmic Questions Answered, and rather the publisher changed it to, what was it?
I can't even remember that now, can I? The Universe Explained, a Cosmic Q&A. But the idea is 185 questions that we get asked sort of down the pub by school children. Mm-hmm. Wherever we're giving a talk. We give a talk about Mars and people ask you what happened before the Big Bang or what happens inside a black hole. There's so much appetite out there for people to know. So I thought, well, why don't we just take all the questions that we're asked, and these are genuine questions that we are asked. Can you see the Great Wall of China from space? How do astronauts go to the toilet? I mean, these are all the questions that you get asked, and just do it. Yeah. And Heather said it's got to be illustrated, so it's fully illustrated. Every question.
And not only that, we chose all the pictures, except there were some they wouldn't allow. Yeah. Anyway, it's been great to talk to you guys.
Yep.
And let's hope for some comets in the new year.
Yes.
None on the way yet, as far as I can tell. We always have a warning in the foreword of our book saying we can't predict the comets, so go out and just check the press.
Well, I think the next one we should be getting is 2017 T2 Pan-STARRS. It's currently of magnitude 10. It's believed that it should be within range from the autumn. J.J. Gonzalez has recovered it in the end of July. He's saying that the magnitude is consistent with the pre-conjunction light curve. So it could go from faint binocular to potentially, I always just, some people say obvious, but I say potentially naked eye visibility.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, but also, with Comet Rotanen, it was just naked eye, but most people have light pollution, and we're a bit wary about putting out a book and say you can see a naked eye comet because we were expecting something like Hale-Bopp when you see that. A faint blur, which you only see with averted vision, really isn't people's idea of a comet.
Well, I want to thank you very much for both coming on the show this month. Hopefully we'd like to get you back again sometime soon so we can have a further natter about things astronomical. The invitation is there. We would love to have you back if that's possible some other date.
Yeah, and thanks very much for having us. We'd love to return like a comet.
Yes.
I think that's the great thing about this show is that we like to have our guests come back again and again because then it gets to be a lot of fun that way, and everybody gets to know everybody as well, particularly those who listen to us. And of course, this is what I will do is, as soon as I've got this all sorted out and polished by astronomy.fm, we'll get you a copy of the show. I'll send it through Skype to you, Nigel, so that you and Heather have got a copy.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Well, thanks very much for having us on again. So
okay,
yeah. Great. And we'll keep in touch.
We'll keep in touch. Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
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 Okay, right, Neil. Well, that was really great having them on the show. So let's go back. Go on.
Yes, it was. Yes, indeed. That was cool. Blimey, I'm blushing. God, Nigel, so quick.
Yeah.
God, gee.
Just remember they're going to hear the rest of this show afterwards. So anyway, let's go back to let's go back to have a brief chat about Borisov.
Borisov. You were reading from Wiki, I think, weren't you?
I got some. I was using the Wikipedia entry, and all the links will be on the video as always.
Okay. Yeah.
So as I say, one of the other things you pointed out to me was from Peter Birtwistle on Twitter, showing an excellent image of the coma, and looking at that image, it looks like it's got a bit of a tail to it already.
Yes, the tail was there last week. It shrunk this week, but it had a coma, and now it's come back again. So something's happened.
Yeah, something's definitely going on. And as I say, the really nice thing is we caught it early enough that everybody can really get out and have a really good look at it. So if you are going to need I'm going to say you're going to need something at least between 8 and 20 inches, at least. It is faint. It's at Peter says it's at about magnitude 18 at the moment in the 4x3 field with the north up. That's what his picture is showing, and that was on a 26.7 minute exposure, and that was on a 0.40 meter Schmidt Cascarian. Cascarian. Yeah. Too early in the morning. And he's using a CCD, and he did his imaging on September the 20th. September the 20th.
I think it was, yes.
1600 hours UTC.
But the main thing is the comet will actually be brighter for the southern hemisphere, while it's up in the northern skies. It's going to be sort of 18, 17. Should get to about 15.5 for the southern skies, and we should be able to follow it, more importantly, for about 18 months in total. So we can have a good look at this thing, whereas Oumuamua was gone within about 3 months, I think. And we saw it post-perihelion as well, didn't we? So it was on its way out then. Exactly,
but the thing is, it's really nice. Now I'm looking at the Century Dreams website, and they're talking about this, and as I say, we got really lucky that Grenadier picked it up so early in its trip through the solar system. And again, this is something that ICE could be potentially used for, because basically with the proposed number of probes at the Lagrange points in around the Earth, Moon and Sun, it means that no matter what direction and the next interstellar object comes in, particularly if it's a good comet and it's picked up early, then we can actually look to intercept it and maybe get a close look up at a rogue comet, or as some people are calling it, or as this fascinating visitor to our solar system. And when you think it's come all the way from the area around on the border of Cassiopeia and Perseus, the other thing, of course, is we can actually now backtrack it. We're getting a very good idea of the orbit from observations, so we can actually backtrack it and see what's going on. So Grenadier is actually an optician by profession. So it's fascinating that he actually built the telescope that he used for the discovery. There are some various tweets about it from Corey Powell and T. Marshall Eubanks. Now, Marshall Eubanks is actually a radio astronomer and physicist at the VLBI, and he was replying to the writer and journalist Corey Powell about it. So it is interesting. It's one of those really, really unusual things that's happened. There's already papers being published. There's a paper on the AAS, American Astrophysics Journal.
I think it's about 3 papers now. I think they've been rushing to get them done.
Yeah, it is really caught a lot of people's attention and interest. They've got some slightly different values for the heliocentric orbital eccentricity. There's in the article I'm looking at, which is by Julia de Leon, Xavier Lincado, Miguel Sierra Ricard, Antonio Cabrera Levers, Joan Fonseca, Ricardo Scarpa, Carlos de la Forte Marcos, and Raul de la Fontena Marcos. So this was published on September the 19th. Well, actually, it's by the American Astronomical Society. I beg your pardon, I got it wrong. I own to my mistakes. But as I say, it's a very interesting paper. I really skimmed through it, and they've got some very interesting. They've actually got a visible spectrum. It was taken with the 10.4 meter Gran Telescopio Canaris on La Palma, and it's a D-type class as defined in the Di Matteo taxonomy, and there's also an example of the acquisition images included in the plot. So, as I say, looking at this, it is really fascinating, and I think we're going to be hearing a lot more. Okay, now, I'm actually using a friend's computer, let me have a look and see where we are. We're actually at 43 minutes into the show, so I think this is probably a good time for us to wrap up. Yes. My thanks to Nigel Henbest, well, Professor Nigel Henbest and Professor Heather Couper for joining us this month. We hope to have them back again soon, because, as I say, it's really great when we get our friends on who are the professional astronomers, because they really do give us an insight into the professional world. So I think it's probably best then to say it's good night from him.
Good night from me.
Good night.